There's a lot of speculation, as we were just talking about, on what impact Election Day could have on the government shutdown, with some seeing it as a potential off-ramp for Democrats. They can do a victory lap and they can get off and say, okay, we've prevailed, we've proven our case, and we've won all these elections. Will they do that? Well, I don't know. Joining me now to discuss this and much more, U.S. Senator Dr. Roger Marshall of Kansas. He serves on several committees, including the Budget Committee, and he joins us now. Senator, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you, and we are in this battle together. I sure appreciate you having me on tonight.
Well, it's always good to have you on, Senator. All right, I'm going to ask you this. You had breakfast with the president this morning. He's talking about the filibuster as the way to end the government shutdown.
Yeah, Tony, certainly that was the president's message today. He's a great convincer, right? I think what folks need to realize is that number one is the filibuster is not in the Constitution. This is a rule in the Senate. The rule was meant to protect, though, the minority. That remind folks we're a republic, that we're not a democracy, and a republic protects the rights of the minority. But he's absolutely convinced that the Democrats are not going to let him do anything else with his agenda the remainder of 3 years unless we get rid of this filibuster. And I got to tell you, 2 weeks, I would have said there's no way I could ever consider it. But here we are. Every day that we go along, I'm sitting there wondering, look, we can't keep the government shut down forever. And if I could just share, one thing that I learned today is the Democrats woke up very emboldened. That they're crediting last night's victory, one of their credits is the fact that they've had the government shut down. They feel like it's giving them more power. They're willing to keep the government shut down clear until the next election because they think it would help them. And that's why I would describe this as a political shutdown. They're more concerned about their reelection than they are whether our military is getting paid or our children get their money for the SNAP programs.
Yeah, Dr. Marshall, I think all that is true, and it appears that the Republicans are the adults in the room right now trying to get the country operating once again. There's got to be a handful of those Democrats that at some point will come to a realization that they too have to be adults. My hesitation on the filibuster, getting rid of that, and you're right, it's not in the Constitution, it's a rule that's been there for a long, long time. But over the last 100 years, Democrats have been in the majority in the Senate chamber 72 years out of 100. And we don't really have to scratch our heads very long to figure out what they would do if they could pass legislation by a simple majority. I mean, I think Puerto Rico becomes a state, Washington, D.C. becomes a state. 4 additional senators. I mean, that could possibly put the Senate out of reach of Republicans for the foreseeable future, if not forever.
Right, Tony, so you're absolutely right about all of that. And if I wish the filibuster was in the Constitution, then it would be next impossible for the Senate to change it. And this truly, Tony, I mean, I know people talk about praying for decisions, but I wake up every morning that I would do justice. And truly, I'm torn a little bit trying to decide what the right thing is. If you could guarantee me that the Democrats aren't going to get rid of the filibuster the next time they're in control, and it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be 2 years, 4 years, or 8 years. Are they going to do it? And just remember, it was just 2 years ago that every senator here that's still here voted in favor of ending it. And that would be the president's point. Now, there'd be others here that argue, oh, that was just a show vote. They really wouldn't do it. So everything you said is absolutely true. I would prefer to keep the filibuster in place. But if they're going to change it anyway, should we proceed and getting rid of it, getting the government open, and then proceeding with President Trump's America First agenda? For instance, voting. If we got rid of the filibuster, then we could make our elections secure again. We could basically outlaw, mail-in ballots, and we could demand voter ID. So there's good things, there's bad things, and I'm truly wrestling with it.
Right. Well, this is my commitment. And I know that my viewers and listeners will do the same, to pray for you and the other senators as you wrestle with these tough decisions. And I know, because you and I have had many conversations, that you do pray through these things. And I appreciate that about you, Roger, and that you're committed to serving the people. And these are heavy things that you have to face, because there are people that I was talking to some pastors this week, checking on people who are coming to the church looking for a food assistance because of some of the things that are happening. So these are real issues affecting real people, and we have to wrestle through them in a way that, in the end, does, I'd like to say, the greatest amount of good, but sometimes it is making sure that we don't do harm because there's unintended consequences by decisions that are made.
Yeah, that's spot on, Tony. And, I got to, again, admit, a lot of the laws that we pass are bad ones. And what the filibuster does, it keeps us from passing even more bad ones. It saves us from ourselves. As other senators have said, the House is like the coffee cup and the Senate's supposed to be the saucer. We're supposed to measure twice, cut once. And that's what the filibuster makes us do. It keeps us from jumping, it makes tax law more permanent. Right. Rather than every 2 years tax law changes is the best one that I can think of it as well. It gives us more certainty. So I can think of 100 reasons to defend it. And my big concern today is what if? Are the Democrats, when they control the Senate, are they going to get rid of it? And we do end up with Puerto Rico estate. They pack the court, and they're the list of things that I'm sure you've mentioned before.
I think if we do away with it, we go from that place of the cup and the saucer to a styrofoam cup. I mean, I think it becomes almost disposable. Very quickly, we got about a minute left, Senator Marshall. Any discussion, movement on the horizon where we might see Democrats agreeing to open the government?
There is. There are definitely some strong smoke signals coming from across the aisle, and Leader Thune is certainly receiving those messages loud and clear. I think the question is, are there 10 brave soldiers over there? They're going to walk the plank and get butchered by the legacy media, by the far left Marxists that are driving this Democrat Party right now. It's going to take courage. Absolutely will take courage for them. They're going to get the heck beat out of them. And you understand that as well as anybody does. It's going to take very much a courageous group to do this. And even Chuck Schumer, who typically would be the first one standing in line to keep the government open, it sounds like he's abandoned any opportunity to do that.
Well, we'll pray for them too. Senator Roger Marshall, always great to see you.